more or less.
Are we going to do a mime this morning?
No, I got to use the other. No, see, which hand is it?
So,
My wife gives me a lot of grief because I've actually worked on my public speaking so people can actually understand me. But my
beautiful.
best teacher was actually a mime. I rest my case. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm so much clearer when I'm on mute. Anyway, so today we're talking about sleep in an odd way. So I've said this over and over again. Sleep is a barometer that's very clear. It's quick feedback, but it's a barometer about how badly do you actually want to heal. Because if you're serious about sleep, there's a bunch of things you can do to get to sleep. If you want to blame the pain for your lack of sleep, you're wrong. The data shows that lack of sleep actually causes the pain. So it's the same thing with the healing process, is that you can't force yourself to heal. You can't force yourself to sleep. You can allow yourself to heal and allow yourself to sleep, but you allow yourself by actually engaging in the tools. And I don't use the word discipline because it's not hard to do. I use the word commitment and persistence is really the key issue here. So if I want to become a concert pianist, I'm going to dedicate myself to learning how to play the piano. I want to commit myself to excellence. So if you want an excellent life, you have to commit yourself to excellent, which means you practice the tools that allow you to have an excellent life. So you allow yourself to heal. So I like to toss it over to you, Les, in that you talk about these term protectors, which I think you and I both agree is this unconscious survival response. It's just a reaction.
Yeah.
And by intellectually saying, I want to give myself permission to heal, that doesn't work. So what you give yourself permission to do is to engage in the tools that allow yourself to heal. But
Yeah.
positive thinking, as you know, is a mismatch for the unconscious brain. So I just like to have you reframe that in terms of these protectors that you talked about.
Yeah.
I think it's a really nice model. So I just like to hear your thoughts on my thoughts.
Yeah. A couple of things on your thoughts with my thoughts and our thoughts.
Maybe we should take a survey about your thoughts versus my thoughts. I think I'd win.
I think you probably would. And I'm okay with that. So,
I don't trust you. You say something like that, it's game on. Anyway, go ahead.
all right. So, and I'm not trying to do this as a lessism, but I'm being truthful here. So, based on what you said, it's basically you're asking our audience to commit. And we're going to check on you in a few minutes. Audience, we're going to check on David to see if he did some of the things I asked him to do, and which he already knows to do, because this guy's a professional, this guy's a pro. And so here's my feedback about what you said. Your body is the landscape of your mind.
Okay.
And so,
is that the lessism?
yes, it is. So your body's the landscape of your mind. It listens to the whispers, whatever goes on here. So when you're suppressing, you're ignoring, distracting, you're doing all these tools, and it's almost like you have a fight, love-hate relationship with your mind and body. What David and I are trying to communicate to you regarding sleep is when you develop a new relationship with what shows up. So for example, you're trying to go to sleep and your mind is racing. There's a part of you that says, hey, I don't feel safe, or there's something bugging me. So David has talked to you about that. If that happens, grab your sheet of paper and start writing. Get out of bed, start writing, and then rip it up. Another thing to do is sometimes when your parts kind of inside of us, we have part of us that wants to sleep, that says, we've got to get up, we got stuff to do tomorrow. And a part of you that says, no. So when you have these parts fighting, they actually show up in the body is what David's just trying to say. What you get to do, audience, and what we get to do, David, is we get to show up as the healthy parent to say, here's what needs to happen, not in a commanding way, but in a compassionate, kind way. So to work with different things inside our minds, we need to learn to develop a new kind of relationship, not a relationship that you have a pet, like a pet negative thought or a pet, sleep problem. You don't drag these things around. You have to develop a new relationship with it. And David is basically emphasizing create a habit of commitment.
Well, it's not that your parents saying, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. Your parents saying, please learn and use the tools.
Yeah.
So if you're let's pretend it's 1,000 years ago and you're getting ready to assault the city, you got to use the weapons at that time were crude, but you had to use ladders and all sorts of stuff to get up that wall. And so you can't just get to sleep. But again, I have a little bit of an earworm about this Spice Girls song about tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I just screwed up your day.
Wow, I was just picturing you in tights and
That's
trying to
not,
sing
yeah,
that
right.
song.
Right. That's a whole different story. I do have a picture of that. Anyway, so I'm just saying, if you want to heal, and honestly, we know this really well, maybe you can't heal yet. In other words, you have to be ready to heal before you heal, which means you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable, which is also a learned skill. So all we're asking you to consider, not to do, you can do whatever you want, is what part of sleep are you addressing? I know you want to sleep, you get frustrated when you don't sleep, but are you actually doing anything about it? So say you've
Yeah.
tried 5 things of sleep hygiene and it hasn't worked. Well, there's at least 20, 25 things, other things you can do. So honestly, when I was doing this in private practice on my own, I would get people to sleep within 6 weeks, no matter what. And sometimes I would have to knock them out with hard medications, which we'll talk about tomorrow, about the medication part of this thing. But you just have to sleep. Forget about the rest of the journey until you are allowing yourself to sleep. So the writing, relaxation, not discussing your pain, not doing crazy things before bedtime all help. But the question is, are you actually doing them? And if you're not, we're not being critical of you, but we're saying, what really is your commitment to getting better? So
Yep.
we can intellectualize things, but not actually do them. And these protectors
Yes.
come in, which do an odd action to prevent you from doing what you know you should do.
Yeah. So David, let's pause here for a second and check in with you, David, so the audience can learn whether you were a good doctor or a naughty doctor. So let's so David so audience, David has been just like all of us from time to time. We have sleep struggles, and he's got, like I said, tons of projects and stuff that we're working on also. So David, just out of curiosity, how did you sleep last night, and what did you do differently or did not do differently? Given that you're giving the habits to us, I'm wondering whether we're practicing what we're preaching.
Yeah, so what I am doing much better, I'm walking past a computer. I came upstairs and wanted to do just a little bit more, walk past a computer. And I did. I laid down, just completely passed out. And so that was that again. I'm doing that more and more, just bypassing computer, no these computer lights at night. I also exercised yesterday twice, and it worked. So I was able to fall asleep, stay asleep, except right around midnight from walking too much. I developed these horrendous leg cramps, and it woke me up twice, really severe for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So other than that, it was I do the exercise maybe a little bit late last night. I
Yeah.
talked to my wife about hanging my feet out the end of the bed, and she just thought that was ridiculous. So I didn't get that one done.
Again, don't be a naughty kitty. Follow through with that. You, like you said, you really, really, really want to get better.
So anyway, I did sleep better.
There, serious note. So, audience, what Dave is not telling you, he also did breathing. So remember, we talked about breath work. Breath work is a nice way to gas up, because when you're constantly in survival state, when you have anxiousness, and even with COVID, with stuff getting better, we're getting vaccinated, we're going out, your anxiety is going to rise, your nervous system is going to be vigilant. So what we're trying to get you to see is exercise is a great way to just kind of transform that nervous system. And the second thing is breath work. David did that a lot throughout the day. Two
Well,
very good things.
especially when I was exercising, that was what I was missing before, because hadn't walked for about 3 weeks. I was doing workouts in the backyard, and I just really worked on the deep breath, slow breathing, deep in, deep out. And about halfway through the walk, my hip pain disappeared.
Yeah.
So no, it's really fascinating. So yeah, but so we have the sleep hygiene, which has about 8 things. We have common sense, which is a lot of stuff. Medications, if you need them, less is breath work, the writing. There's a lot of things you can do to get to sleep. So again, it's a barometer. Honestly, since we've started talking about this again, I am actually trying to listen to you, trying. And I'm making,
Ryan is dying in psychotherapy, David. Go on.
so we'll be talking about medications later this week. And but please honestly look at your relationship to sleep as your relationship to your pain. That's what we're really trying to say today. It's just really look at that carefully. And we will talk about this also later, is that a lot of times you don't give yourself permission to heal because you can't. In other words, you're not trained to be vulnerable yet. We're not programmed to be vulnerable. And that's, again, a learned skill, which Dr. Arya has a lot of skill in. And so, yeah, there's lots of things to do, but sleep is a really nice starting point. It's how the whole DOC journey started. So again, this is dynamic healing, interaction between your stresses in your brain and determines your physiological state. And so understanding that interaction makes a big difference.
Yeah,
And we
absolutely.
hope you slept last night and enjoy your day. So anyway, thanks, Les. Les can be found at remedypain.com. I can be found at the .co. I'm sorry, remedypain.co. And I'm at the docjourney.com. And please take sleep seriously. And we have the Facebook page. So check in with us about how it's going. We do
Yeah.
appreciate your comments. We actually look at them. And we love your feedback. And so enjoy your day.
Yeah. Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah.